Hello everyone, welcome to my video. As many of you who already know that there are different types of hardware devices, I want you to know that different types of hardware devices are connected to the computer systems through different types of connection points between each hardware devices. And in the IT world, people call those connection points like the hardware interfaces. People in the past created different types of hardware interfaces based on different distinct and design techniques. One of those techniques is called the modular design. And today we're gonna learn a little bit about modular design. So here is one document from a course called Computing Fundamental called A+. This document also include a lot of notes that I documented before. While you're watching this video, make sure that you also write your own notes too, so that you can remember the materials more effectively. So let's begin with this background. There's one more aspect of computer hardware. It's called modular design. And modular design is a design approach that standardizes hardware interfaces in order to create modular hardware components. So because this sentence is really confusing, especially if you are not people who are already familiar with special IT vocabularies. So because of that, I already did some research to help translate some of those special IT phrases here, like what is standardized hardware interfaces or modular hardware components. So according to Microsoft Bing Chat Copilot, you can see the standardized hardware interfaces means making sure that every component uses the same type of connection or design rules. So please remember this so that if you see this phrase again in the future, then you know what it is. Next, modular hardware components are interchangeable, independent components called modules that can be easily added, removed, upgraded, or replaced without affecting the rest of the system. If you try to write a paragraph using the actual meaning of those phrases, that paragraph is going to be really long. That's why people in the IT world try to use special terms to help with their writing skills. As you're using your computer or working with your computer, at some point in the future, you may face a challenge in which you have to decide if you want to upgrade your hardware components or you want to remove some perks because of damage within the system, or you just want to try to learn how different hardware component works by remove something and install something into the hardware system. At that time, you might wonder if causing some changes into your hardware system can affect badly or doesn't affect anything within your hardware system. That's why people in the past created a modular design so that even if you try to do some change to your hardware system, that is not gonna affect much to the rest of the system. Let's think about this example. One day you want to replace your computer's monitor because you want to have a bigger screen. And you might want to ask a question like, if I buy a new monitor, will it work well with my computer? Or do I need to ask the manufacturers if I should send my computers to them so that they help me upgrade the monitor or not? A lot of questions might come up because these days every computers around the world already have a modular design technique inside their hardware interfaces. For that situation, you can just go to any online store or a computer hardware shop to buy a new monitor and then plug your monitor into your computers, and then you're good to go. At that time, your computer will work effectively with your new monitor. Here are some specific types of hardware that already have modular design so that it can be easily added to your computer system or easily be replaced or removed or even be upgraded. This is the headphone. This is the camera. This is the microphone. This is the USB. This is the graphic card. This is like a joystick that can be used to play video game. This is the keyboard. This is printer. This is the secure digital card. This is the CPU. So here is an explanation of what hardware interface is. A hardware interface is the physical or logical connection point between two devices or components. It defines how signals, data, or power are exchanged. Examples, USB ports, types of USB ports. So to save time, I'm not gonna talk about different types of USB ports or HDMI connectors. But please remember to pause the video to make sure that you have a sense of knowing different types of these connectors or ports. Okay. So the next is PCIe slots. So PCIe is peripheral component Peripheral component interconnect express is a high-speed interface standard used to connect components like graphics cards, GPUs, solid-state drives, NVMe, SSDs, network cards, capture cards. Okay, cool. Peripheral in computing. In computing, peripheral is any external or internal device that connects to and works with a computer, but isn't part of the core system, like the CPU or memory. Examples are peripherals, external keyboard, mouse, monitor, printer, internal graphics card, GPU, sound card, network card, SSD. Okay, here, here are some PCIe slots from different motherboard. Next is SATA cables. SATA cable is also called modular hardware components. So here you can see SATA cable here. So SATA cable is used to connect your computer's motherboard to the hard drives. So here's some SATA slots on motherboard. The next modular hardware component is the Ethernet jacks. So this is two jacks on the wall outlet to connect your Ethernet cable. So on your Ethernet cable, there's say Ethernet jack here, and this is another Ethernet jack that is used to install into the wall outlet. So in general, please remember that modular design is a design technique that makes sure every connection points between hardware components follow the same type of connection or design rules, so that hardware components can be easily added, removed, upgraded, or replaced without affecting the rest of the system. So next, this means modular design means that when a monitor that works on one computer is connected to a different computer and still works, the monitor is modular. Another example is the speaker. If a speaker is connected to a different computer other than your computer at home, then that speaker can be called modular too, because it can be easily installed on a different computer. While this may seem commonplace today, it wasn't always the case. In the early days of computers, hardware components were proprietary. Proprietary here is like it can only be made, used, or produced by a certain individual or organization. Or you can say hardware components pri- were owned privately by certain individual or organization, and you can only change your hardware components from if you buy it from a specific brand, you know. And in the past, if you want to upgrade your hardware components, chances are you have to buy the new components from the same brand that created your computer. Okay, this meant that if a piece of hardware in your computer died, you couldn't just go to the store and buy a replacement. Yeah, in the past, you couldn't just go to the store and buy a new replacement for a specific hardware component. And you had to ship the component, sometimes the entire computer, back to the manufacturer in order to get it fixed or replaced. Yeah, in the past, you had to actually uh, work with your manufacturer to resolve issues that happen with your hardware components. Whether you want to repair or replace each component, you know. So these days, luckily, this isn't the case anymore because computer hardware is modular and standardized. You are limited to a specific manufacturer or brand when buying and replacing hardware components. For example, if you want to install another hard, for example, if you want to install another hard disk drive in your computer, you don't have to buy it from the same company that built your computer. Any brand or hard disk drive will work. I'm not sure this is the exactly case for all computers because in my experience, you know, different different computers motherboard requires you to know the kind of hardware components that are compatible with the specific motherboard. What I'm trying to do here is I want you to know a little bit about what is the computer's case and what is internal components and some basic information that help you to read and analyze the specifications of a computer's motherboard. Now you know what type of hardware devices can be compatible with a specific computer's motherboard. So here you can see different images of computer's case. So here you may realize the different hardware components are going to be set up differently in different cases like this. The fan is not going to be installed in the exact same place as uh, between this computer case and this computer case. You see, and here and with this case, there are like 7 fans, but for this case, there are only 3. And here's an example of internal hardware components. Here you can see uh, the PSU, the the component called PSU. This is short for power supply unit. That it is a device that supply power to your computer. This is a place to install CPU. This is the place to install RAM. This is the position to. This is the location for the fan. This is the location for the video card. This is the hard drive. This is the place to install the CD-ROM. Here's another example of the internal hardware components. Here you can see some new information like the PCI slots. And here is the place to install hard drive. Here's how power supply looks like. And there should be a fan that to place in front of the CPU. So for this particular image, that, for this particular image, you're not gonna see the CPU here because it is placed beneath the fan. So here's an example of a computer motherboard from Best Buy. This is called B800 B850M Gaming as Wi-Fi 6E socket AM5 AMD and so on. So this motherboard was produced by AMD, and this is how it looks in real life. So here you can see different locations to install different hardware components. So as you progress more with this particular course, you're gonna understand which locations is used to install what kind of specific hardware component. And here's another image of different ports to install different hardware components. Here's some ports to install the microphone, the headphone. Here's some ports to install the keyboard, the mouse, or the USBs. This is the port to install the Ethernet jack or Ethernet cable. This is the HDMI port. So here are some information about the detailed specifications. I'm not going to read all of the information, but please remember to pause the video to make sure you read a little bit about it so that you know this kind of computer's motherboard will be suitable to specific hardware components. And if you try to buy a different hardware components that don't actually be compatible with this motherboard, your computer will be damaged or it's not going to run well. So here is the key specifications. The chipset is AMD. If you try to install, this means that if you try to install a Intel chip into this motherboard, it's not going to work. So next, here is the model number, product name, the color, the year of release, okay, compatibility, AMD chipset, processor, AMD 2, operating system compatibility, Windows 11, Windows 10. So this means if you try to install a Mac OS system, it's not going to work, but you can still install Linux system because Linux is going to run on any computer's device. So, okay, memory slots, 2 slots for M.2 slots. Number of PCIe at 16 slots, 2, 4. Okay, next, wireless connectivity, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, power connector here, SATA connector, 4S, SATA, 6G, fan cooling system connector. One one S CPU fan heater. One S water cooling CPU fan heater. 3 times system fan heaters. Okay, wireless standard AS ports, USB ports here. So this motherboard is gonna be compatible with these USB ports. Number of audio channels. Okay, Thunderbolt ports, audio ports. So as you study further for this particular course, you will know more information about those things. Dimension, product length, product width, product and weight, memory, maximum memory supported 256 gigabytes. Okay, memory format supported DIMM, UDIMM. Okay, cool. Memory speed supported. Okay, next, array support, UPF, UPC, warranty. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching my video, and please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification